Good night. How everyone doing tonight? God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma Jill, of the creator of the world. Um, I do have some news for you on tonight. Good news and bad news. Okay, first we're gonna start with the COVID. Now it was brought to my attention that COVID are still active. Mean COVID are not over. That mean mass up. So when you go out of town, you going to a meeting, or you gonna handle business, are you going to visit someone? Or are you on a cruise? You should mask up. Because it brought to my attention that someone is still catching the COVID, because they're thinking it's slag up. The COVID is still active, meaning it's still floating. Just because you took the test, you still have to be careful with catching the COVID. And especially if you leave town. I mean, if you in town or out town, you still should be careful and wear a mask. It's not only just saving you, but it's saving someone else. And because you took the test, you all have to still be careful. Okay, so I understand no one, no one don't like to wear a mask. I understand that. But since it's summertime, you can't get buy the little thin masks. I have don't get it too thin. Get the thin masks and save your thick masks for the winter. Because right now, you still have to wear these masks because so many people are still catching the COVID. You know, so just make sure it's not too thin that you're still protected. Because brought to my attention, uh, they're catching the COVID. Especially you going out of town, you don't want to be masked up. Everywhere I go, I have a mask on. And it's like I'm the only one is still wearing a mask. Everybody's walking around free. And most people that I know brought to my attention are still catching a COVID. So that's one of my news right there. To wear your mask because the COVID are still active. So now the bad news. There was a deadly killing in Texas elementary school. And I'm sorry to hear this. The shooter killed at least 14 children and one teacher. Now, the name of this elementary school was Robb Elementary School in Texas. Also, they believe to have been killed by a law enforcement officer who responded to the scene. So this shooter, the shooting took place by 11:32 a.m. And they believe he had a handgun. You know, and also this shooter decided to kill his grandmother before he even went to the school and did all this shooting and before he went on a rampage. So we don't know about why he did it because the motivation is still unclear right now at this time. But it still stated that he killed his grandmother before he went on a rampage at the school. So we don't know what triggered him off. We don't know you know, what was triggered in his mind, because something something went on in his mind that he killed his grandmother before he even went to the school. So my thing is I want to speak on enough is enough. A killing, especially at an elementary school. Because last month I had just talked about um, having security inside the school and having an officer outside the school. And I hope y'all take my advice and have security inside the school. Unarmed security inside the school and have an armed officer or either armed security outside of the school. We have to do these things because you have so much killing. It's coming around the school. And that is a shame how they would do that at elementary school. And I'm sorry to hear that this person did this kind of killing like this here. So I want to say this nation needs to come together. Needs to come together. Put the guns down and pick up a Bible. Because this is just going too far when you're shooting at an elementary school. To killing have to stop. So I send my love and kindness to all the parents of these 14 children that was killed, and also to the family of this teacher that also was killed. And I will pray for healing for all of y'all, for all that needs a healing, um, because it is due to this process that just happened. So my condolences to everyone. And I'm sorry to hear this killing was at an elementary school. I mean, it just took me because I just talked about last month about trying to have the safety of these kids at these schools, at all the schools. And I hope y'all taking in consideration of having um on security inside the school and have an officer or either a armed security outside of the school. And I mean, this is for all the schools to take my advice and start having security inside and outside of the school. Okay, so now I have some good news. I mean, history is going on this year. This is year 4, and it's moving along. So I have more history. I have a 10-year-old. I mean, a 10-year-old Pennsylvania school girl that had been named the world's youngest opera singer. You know, I mean, that is amazing. 10-year-old singing opera. You know, she from Pennsylvania, and she's a girl that had been named the world's youngest opera singer. And that is amazing. And she also, for CBS News, was treated to a special performance at the New York City Empire State Building. I mean, that is great and so amazing that this 10-year-old singing opera. And she also performed. This is amazing. She probably been singing at a young age, but that is amazing for a 10-year-old to be singing that kind of music like that. And she was named the world's youngest opera singer because they never had no one 10-year-old, singing opera singer, you know. And she also performed. She also performed at New York Empire State Building, So that's the good news we have among all this bad news, But I shoot my wishes out to all the parents and the family to the teacher, you know. And so this all the show news I have for you today, on tonight. And I see y'all on the next video. Have a blessed night.